OpenAI just pushed out a pretty serious update to Codex, and it is honestly one of those releases that shifts how the tool actually gets used day to day. The official post is titled Codex for Almost Everything, which tells you a lot right there. Codex is not being sold as a coding helper anymore. It is being positioned as an agent that sits inside your machine and handles the messy parts of shipping software. So let me walk you through what actually changed. So the first thing worth talking about is background computer use. Codex can now open apps, click buttons, type into fields, and move around your screen with its own cursor. And the part that caught my attention is that multiple agents can do this in parallel on a Mac without freezing up the rest of your system. OpenAI said they built some custom plumbing so the agent running in the background does not fight you for resources while you are still using your laptop normally. That is actually a real engineering problem, and most computer use tools today struggle with it. Anthropic has Claude Cowork doing something similar, but OpenAI is clearly trying to make this feel less like a demo and more like something you would leave running while you work on other stuff. The reason this matters is because a huge chunk of real software work is not typing code. It is clicking through a staging site to check a bug, running a simulator flow on a mobile app, tweaking a setting in some dashboard, or verifying that a UI actually looks the way the spec said. That stuff usually breaks AI tools because the task does not fit into a clean text prompt. With screen access, Codex can now just go do it and come back with a report. Now the next piece is the in-app browser, and this is more useful than it sounds. You can open a local host page or a public page inside the Codex app, then leave comments directly on the page elements. For example, if the y-axis on your chart is cut off, you click on the chart, leave a comment saying fix the margin, and Codex reads the DOM element and makes the edit. That removes a huge amount of back and forth. You are not screenshotting, pasting, explaining, and hoping the agent understood which button you meant. You are just pointing at the thing. For front-end folks and small game developers, that alone saves hours a week. Before I continue, let me introduce CodeSnif, a security-first pull request code review platform. You open a pull request, and CodeSnif scans it through 9 deep analysis steps to give you a complete review before you merge. Actually, writing code these days is easier than ever, thanks to AI. But with that speed comes a new kind of risk: security threats, hidden bugs, and code you don't fully understand shipping straight to production. I connect my GitHub account, grant CodeSnif access to my repo, and with just one click, I generate a full analysis of my project. I instantly get a clear summary of my codebase, my tech stack, and the complexity hotspots I need to watch. Then the dependency graph gives me a visual map of how everything connects, so I can spot risky areas in seconds. When a pull request is created, CodeSnif automatically analyzes it and hands me a full review, an overview, the risk level, merge advice, and clear warnings about any breaking changes. I can dive into a complete walkthrough, see the highlights, the concerns, and detailed testing notes. CodeSnif runs every PR against industry-standard testing pipelines, helping you catch issues before they reach production. So if you're serious about shipping safer code and you want to stop merging code you don't fully understand, give it a try. Link in the description below. On top of that, Codex now has image generation baked in through GPT Image 1.5. So if you are building a landing page and you need a rough hero image, a placeholder icon, or a concept asset for a game, you can just ask for it inside the same workflow. You do not have to go to a separate tab, generate an image, download it, rename it, and drag it into your project. It all happens in one place. And Codex can also take screenshots of its own work to verify it is on the right path, which is a small detail but actually makes the agent way more reliable when it is clicking around. Alright, there is also a big expansion on the integration side. OpenAI released somewhere around 90 to 111 new plugins, depending on which write-up you read. These include Atlassian Rovo for Jira, Circle CI, GitLab Issues, Microsoft Suite, Neon by Databricks, Render, and a bunch more. The point of these plugins is that Codex can pull context from your actual work tools instead of living in a vacuum. You can type something like check my Slack, Gmail, Google Calendar, and Notion and tell what needs my attention. And Codex will go across all of those apps, gather the important stuff, and give you a prioritized list. You can mention a specific app if you want, or just let Codex figure out which ones to touch. For developers specifically, the Codex app now supports a lot of the day-to-day stuff that used to live in separate tools. You can address GitHub PR review comments directly in the app. You can run multiple terminal tabs. You can connect to remote dev boxes over SSH, though that feature is still in alpha. There is a summary pane that keeps track of the agent's plan, sources, and artifacts, so you can actually see what it is doing. And the file preview side now handles PDFs, spreadsheets, and slide decks, not just code files. So if your task involves reading a product requirements doc or pulling numbers from a sheet, the app does not force you to leave. Now let me talk about memory and automations, because this is where Codex starts feeling less like a chatbot and more like a working partner. OpenAI released a preview of memory, which means Codex can remember your preferences, your coding style, how you like things formatted, corrections you have made, and useful context from past tasks. So you do not have to keep re-explaining yourself at the start of every session. The automation side is honestly more interesting. Codex can now reuse existing conversation threads and keep context built up over time. It can schedule future work for itself and wake up later to continue, potentially across days or weeks. They are calling part of this heartbeat automations. So for example, you can set Codex to check open pull requests every morning, follow up on stale Slack threads, or keep an eye on a Notion page and ping you when something changes. It also suggests what to work on next based on your project, your plugins, and your memory. It might tell you, hey, there is an open comment on this Google Doc that you have not addressed, or your coworker pushed a commit that touches code you own. To put some numbers on this, OpenAI confirmed Codex now has more than 3 million weekly developers using it. And earlier this year, they said usage in ChatGPT Business and Enterprise had grown 6 times since January. So the adoption is real. It is not just hype cycle numbers. There are some caveats worth mentioning, though. Background computer use is launching on macOS first. Windows users have the app, but not the full computer use feature yet. And for folks in the EU, UK, and Switzerland, computer use is not available at launch. They have to wait. Memory and the context-aware suggestions are also rolling out in phases to Enterprise ADU and European users. The SSH connection to remote dev boxes is still in alpha, so expect some rough edges there. On pricing, Codex is included with ChatGPT Plus, Pro, Business, Enterprise, and Edu plans. And for a limited window, OpenAI is also including it with the free tier and the Go plan, which is pretty generous. There is also a pay-as-you-go per seat option on Business and Enterprise, so teams that want to scale it up without committing to a flat rate have a path. Paid plans naturally get higher rate limits. One thing the reporting has been clear about is that this release is a step toward what OpenAI has publicly called a super app. The head of Codex, Thibault Sotiu, basically said they are building the super app out in the open, and this release is aimed at developers first. The idea is that ChatGPT, Codex, and the Atlas browser eventually come together into one desktop experience. This update is not that final product, but you can see the direction. Codex is becoming the work surface, not just a feature inside ChatGPT. If I zoom out and compare this to what Anthropic is doing with Claude Code and Cowork, and what Cursor and Windsurf are doing in the IDE space, it is clear everyone is racing to the same finish line. The agent that can actually do the whole loop of a real task, not just generate a code snippet. OpenAI's angle here is that Codex already runs on your computer, so expanding it outward into every other app is a natural move. Anthropic's angle is the opposite, starting from a clean desktop agent and working inward. Both approaches will probably end up in similar places, but for right now, Codex has a clear lead on raw feature surface area. What I think matters most about this release is the shift from generate code to participate in work. The thing that used to break AI tools was always the same. The moment you needed it to look at a browser, read a PDF, respond to a PR comment, check a Notion page, or remember what you told it last week, the workflow collapsed. This update addresses every one of those breakpoints in one go. Is it perfect? No, you will still need to supervise it. Computer use agents can click the wrong button. Memory can remember things you did not actually want it to store. But the direction is obvious, and if you are a developer who has been skeptical about AI tools actually fitting into your real job, this is probably the first release that makes a strong case on its own. Alright, so That's it from the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.